It's Wednesday, yes, sorry, I'm 2 days late, and you're listening to the Unofficial British Artists Top 20. Hello and welcome to a somewhat late show. Sorry about that. As usual, we will have my album review, some news, and of course my international and British song of the week. But first, here is the all-important, the reason we're all here, the Unofficial British Artists Top 20. This week we have 3 new entries, 2 songs going up, 11 songs going down and 4 non-movers. At number 20 we have a new entry for Sienna Spiro with Material Lover. Down 2 places to number 19 is Fleetwood Mac with Dreams, and up 1 place to 18 is Femi with Noble. Sienna Spiro is down 2 places to number 17 with Die on This Hill, and Ray is down 4 places with Click Clack Symphony to number 16. Bebe Rexha and Faithless with New Religion are down 2 places to 15, and we have a non-mover at number 14 for Fleetwood Mac with Landslide. And number 13, Harry Styles, is down 1 place with Sign of the Times. At number 12, Sienna Spiro is down 2 places with The Visitor, and at number 11 we have a new entry for Natasha Bedingfield with Unwritten. Here's your top 10. At number 10, it's Pink Pantheress, down 1 place with Stateside. At number 9, it's Dave and Thames, down 3 places with Rain Dance. And number 8, it's Olivia Dean, down 1 place with Baby Steps. Ray is down 2 places to number 7 with Where Is My Husband. Olivia Dean is down 2 places to number 6 with So Easy to Fall in Love. Prosper and Clooney are up 3 places to number 5 with Free Your Mind. And we have a new entry at number 4 with The Chemical Brothers and Go. We have a non-mover at number 3, Harry Styles, American Girls. A non-mover at number 2, Olivia Dean, Man I Need. And still at number 1, it's Sam Fender and Olivia Dean with Rein Me In. It's kind of interesting to look at the new entries this week because there are 3 which feels a bit better than we've had recently, but only 2 of them are what I would call proper new entries. So Sienna Spiro's Material Lover came in at number 20, and that is a new song, but the other 2 are not. So firstly, at number 11 you've got Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield, which seems to like popping back into the charts. It's actually a 2004 song, so it's 22 years old this year. But the theory is that there was a film released in 2023 called Anyone But You, and it was used in that movie, and it has popped back into the charts on a couple of occasions since then. I don't know if that's been repeated recently or if for some reason people are watching that more than normal. But yeah, I think that's why Unwritten is back in the chart. And then at number 4, you've got a 2015 song by the Chemical Brothers, Go. And actually, this is the first time it's ever been in the top 10. And it was basically because it's being used a lot. Well, it's being streamed a lot because it's been used recently in the hit Netflix action thriller Apex. So that's your 3 new entries and why they're there. Is that an awful lot of churn in the chart this week? Well, no, not really. I'll be interested to see if both of those are still there next week. Although I have had a look at the midweek chart and it does look like the Chemical Brothers track is doing really well, so that might be around for a while, so that's good. Other than that, the top 3 is exactly the same 3 songs it's been forever. So there's not a huge amount of interesting stuff to say about that. And if we look at official chart penetration by British artists, it's not good. So once again in the top 10 there's only 1 song by a British artist, that's 10%. It was that scored 2 weeks ago, and then another track, I think it was Olivia Dean, managed to get back into the top 10, but now it's dropped out again of the official top 10, so we've only got 1. And then we're exactly the same place as we were last week in terms of how many British artists are in the official top 20, and the answer is there's only 3 songs, and it's exactly the same 3 songs, the ones at my top 3: Rein Me In by Sam Fender and Olivia Dean, Man I Need by Olivia Dean, and Harry Styles' American Girls. And then in the whole top 40, exactly 10, so exactly 25% of the chart is British Artists. That's not great. It is a little bit better than last week when it was only 9, but it's still not great. We still don't seem to have this massive hit British album that comes in and, you know, chucks its tracks into the top 40. I was hoping that we'd get something from Mel C's new album appear in the official chart, but that doesn't seem to be the case. And then my number 20 is actually number 67 in the official chart. So another way of looking at it is in the official top 67, there are 20 British songs, but that's actually 5 better than last week, because last week it was down as low as number 72. Olivia Dean and Sam Fender's Rein Me In still being at number 1 means it's been there for 10 weeks, and it also does does help the stats in terms of British artists. So there've been 19 weeks worth of charts this year. 15 of them have been by British artists. 10 of those has been that particular song, Rein Me In by Sam Fender and Olivia Dean. And then we've only had 4 weeks where British artists have not been at number 1 this year. As I say, I thought a real threat might be the new Olivia Rodrigo song, and it did go to number 1, but the following week Sam Fender and Olivia Dean toppled it again. So that's good, but I am ready for something new to dominate the scene now, if possible. I wonder if there's any clues as to what that might be. Well, tell you what, let's go to the news. Firstly, here is the Spotify roundup. One artist from the British Isles appeared on the global debut album chart this week. Fenian by Kneecap was featured at number 9. Unfortunately, no British songs were on the global debut songs charts. Meanwhile, Olivia Dean's The Art of Loving is still on the global albums top 10, up 2 places from 8 to 6. Stateside by Pink Pantheress returned to the Global Songs Top 10 this week at number 10, the only British entry, which is still one better than last week when there were none. We still have 2 new entries in the Global Pre-Saves chart this week. Dinner Party by Niall Horan has gone up 2 places to number 5 with 313,100 pre-saves, an increase of 12,700 on last week. The album is released on the 5th of June, so it still has a few more weeks to go. Also, The Wow Signal by Muse has risen 2 places to number 8 with 272,100 pre-saves, also up a large amount, 22,500 on last week. That album comes out on the 26th of June. The USA's Olivia Rodrigo is still at the top of this chart with her album Oh You Seem Pretty Sad for a Girl So In Love, which currently has 2.95 million pre-saves, a figure that has grown by 220,000 since this time last week. No songs by British artists joined the Spotify Billions Club this week. This week's BPI Brit certified releases are Stormzy's single Sounds of the Skeng, which is now a silver single, Lady Lady by Olivia Dean, which is a gold single, and the song Die on This Hill by Sienna Spyro has gone platinum. David Bowie's album Legacy this week turned quadruple platinum. Olivia Dean and Sam Fender's Rein Me In has now spent 10 non-consecutive weeks at the top of the British official chart. If it is still there next week, it will have the record for the longest running number 1 for a male-female duo. They're currently tied with Rihanna and Jay-Z's song Umbrella. No other British female artist has spent more weeks at number 1 than Olivia Dean now has with Rein Me In, which is pretty cool for her. Last week's British album releases charted as follows. Fenian by Kneecap came in at number 2, and Sweat by Melanie C was a new entry at number 3. This is in fact the highest ever chart position for a solo album from a former Spice Girl. The new Boo Radley's album, In Spite of Everything, and Put on a Record Tommy by Tom A. Smith failed to chart. The new albums released by British artists on Friday were Wired by Basement, It's Just My Opinion by Girly, and the EP Sugar Girl by Little Sims. Lewis Capaldi surprised people by releasing an unannounced EP also on Friday called Live from North America, and that was the news. This podcast is, as you will probably recognise, a couple of days late. And one of the reasons was that I could not decide which album I wanted to review this week. Part of the issue was that after I listened to Sweat by Melanie C last week, I thought I might as well listen to the other albums that were released at the same time. Fenian by Kneecap was entertaining and much more accessible than I assumed it would be, and although I'm sure I wasn't the target audience. The only thing I didn't like about it was a lazy rhyme that matched Pet Shop Boys with sweatshop toys that frankly didn't even make sense. In spite of everything by Boo Radley's was okay, and that left me with just one title left to listen to. Put on a Record, Tommy by Tom A. Smith. Now, you've probably heard me say before that I'm not going to review an EP, which is what that is. And I think the reason for that was that it felt almost like taking the easy option, listening to something shorter. And that's a mistake I've learnt from as a result of listening to this record, because I didn't merely like Put on a Record, Tommy by Tom A. Smith. I absolutely loved it. And so instead of reviewing one of the albums that came out on Friday, I'm going to go back a week and review one that came out the week before, which frankly is what I've been doing for most of the run of this podcast. It's only the last couple of episodes where I've actually tried to review one that came out the week I released the podcast. So let me tell you a little bit about Tom A. Smith, because like you, I suspect, unless you are really into this music, you probably don't know who he is. Now, he was born in Sunderland in 2004 and became interested in music at the tender age of 4. As a kid, he loved music like The Smiths, The Cure and Oasis, and his dad was actually friends with members of a band called Detroit Social Club, who used to do tours with Oasis, presumably as their support act in their early years. And one of the band members from Detroit Social Club gave young Tommy his first guitar lessons. He first performed live at the age of 8 and 2 years later managed to perform at Glastonbury before he'd even gone to secondary school. He released his very first single, Wolves, in 2021 and has, since then, released several more singles as well as several EPs, the sixth of which is Put on a Record, Tommy. He has not, as yet, released a full album, but I'm sure this is only a matter of time. He's been played on BBC Radio 1, 6 Music and on several other music stations around the UK. Put on a Record, Tommy is composed of 6 songs. According to some reviewers, it's had a different feel from his previous indie rock material. I can't definitely state that myself because, as I say, I'd only heard of the guy in the last couple of weeks and I haven't gone back and listened to his back catalogue. This particular collection of songs seem to be influenced by indie pop, possibly glam-influenced rock, and there's a bit of synth pop and Britpop thrown in for good measure. Stylistically, some people have compared it to the Kinks, Pulp and possibly some later era Blur. 2 singles have been released from this EP so far. The opening track, SFX, and more recently the title track, Put on a Record, Tommy. The opening track, SFX, is about body image, insecurity and escaping self-doubt through music. It's a really interesting contrast. The lyrics deal with a person who's overthinking how he's perceived, but the music is energetic with an indie dance sound. It's a really interesting start from a singer who comes across as very confident and comfortable with who he is and what he's about. This was a single and has an engaging video that you can watch on YouTube. Track 2 is called Our Song, and it's about what it sounds like it is. It's a love song, but it's not overly romantic, with lyrics like, "There's nobody that I'd rather be wasting my life with." It talks about hearing a song over and over until it's added to a playlist and listened to many, many times until it becomes our song. It builds beautifully. It starts off very basic with just bass line and drums, and very quickly Tom's lyrics kick in, and then as the first verse continues, more elements are added with backing vocalists joining the ensemble for the chorus. It strips back again for verse 2 but then continues to build, and each iteration of verse and chorus adds elements until the end. It's just a really rich sound. The backing vocals in the middle come back in again at the end of the track, creating this really cool pop crescendo and at the song's final moments. It is quintessential pop, brilliantly done. The third song is called The Only One, and it has a slightly less frantic feel than the previous 2, which actually is a welcome change of pace at this point in the record. As I've said before, you can take 6 songs and one person could put them in one order and they'd make a good record, and another person would put the same songs in a different order and they would make a brilliant record. Sequencing is a skill, and the sequencing on this album is absolutely spot on. The star of the show here is track 4, Put On a Record Tommy, which obviously is also the name of the album. A video was released earlier in the week, which has just added to how much I love the song. And it's such a simple idea, but it's so catchy. It seems to be about insecurity, and in this case it's about creating a party atmosphere to escape anxiety, uncertainty, and maybe questions about identity. Interpretations of the meaning that I've read online include using music and dance as a form of escapism, holding yourself together in public, and most interestingly, working out who you are whilst your life is changing quickly. I confess that one of the reasons I kind of decided to listen to this album was I just loved the title of the album. And when I realised that the record was named after one of the songs on it, I became even more interested. This is a highly catchy, if outwardly very simple song, and I really hope it gets the airplay it deserves and that it gets noticed and charts, because it's absolutely awesome. The whole EP only comes in at 25 minutes and was released for downloading and streaming a week ago on Friday, but there is a vinyl version being released on the 12th of June. You've probably got the gist that I love this by now, so of course I've pre-ordered it. I don't really like to give star ratings as part of these reviews, but so far this year I've only listened to 2 records that I would give a 5-star rating to. One was This Music May Contain Hope by Ray, and this album was the other. That's actually gone pretty quickly for once. Right, there's one more little thing I'm going to very quickly talk about before I finish the show today, and that is that I'm going to take a little break from doing this soon. I absolutely love doing this podcast, even though it doesn't have that many people listening to it. I've really enjoyed finding musical acts that I probably wouldn't ever have considered listening to if it wasn't for my commitment to listen to a new album every week. So I definitely don't want to stop it, but I do need a little bit of a break. So what I'm going to do is next week's show is going to be the final one for a while. Probably I'm going to take about 3 weeks off. Now, obviously it's a chart, and I have to let people know what the chart is. So even the weeks I'm away, you will get a little 2 or 3 minute podcast in the feed, which will literally just be the chart countdown, but I won't do the news, and I won't do the reviews, and I won't do the commentary. Well, I might do the commentary. We'll see how I feel. I haven't quite decided yet. But yeah, so for 3 weeks, you will just get the basic, the minimum that I need to do, just because I do feel if you're doing a chart, it has to, the actual chart itself has to be there, you know, every week, otherwise things just don't make sense. So next week is the my show 16, and it's also the 20th chart of 2026 if you're talking official charts. So what I shall do, as I say, I shall do one last show next week and then have 3 weeks off before coming back the week after that. Yeah, there you go. That's my little announcement. Finally, one last little thing to say, and that is to tell you what my British song and international song of the week are. So I'll do international first, and I really like the new Alex Warren song Fine Place to Die. But my British song of the week has to be, and you've probably guessed this, if it's something I've already covered on here, it has to be Tom A. Smith's Put On a Record Tommy. I really wish I could play out with it. I probably could if I play less than 30 seconds. I'm allowed to do it, but I'm not going to for copyright reasons and all that. But I absolutely urge everybody who's listening to this, go and find the video on YouTube or find it on Spotify or Apple Music and listen to Put On a Record Tommy by Tom A. Smith. It's absolutely magnificent. I'll see you next week for the final show in the current season. Thank you so much.